Now, the rest of the story.
Welcome back, guys. I kind of feel like I owe you a video. But I'm on my last field, and it's the weekend, so everything that I harvest goes right down the road. Well, they're not running full hours, so it kind of is dragging this place out a little bit, but we're getting there. One thing for absolute certain, though, is we save the best for first. I'm not saying this place is a train wreck, but okay, you know the thing about moisture, where you don't want to sell a bunch of very wet corn down the river? You guys heard me say it a couple times this fall. Well, I think our old moisture tester burned us, because it's a few years old, yes. We calibrated it, yes. It was still reading high. It actually went through 4 brand new 9-volt batteries just this season alone, when normally 1 battery will last it all season, if not longer. And ultimately we checked it against and my agronomist Andrew's moisture tester, and it was reading 1.5 to 2 points higher on average, if not closer to 3. Oh, excuse me. Well, the reason I say that burned us is because we had days where we were still holding out harvesting because they're charging a lot to dry it down at the elevator. I'm not going to get into that topic again. Okay, well, anything under 20% after a point, I'll harvest. And next year, in light of how things are going now, I'm not going to plant all my farms to shorter day hybrids. And when I say shorter day, 101 day is a short day hybrid to me. I'm just going to try to split up some of my acres a little bit more, because harvesting in the snow, never did like doing it. And once again, that's kind of where the whole moisture thing burned us, because we had days harvesting my dad's corn where it was still coming in at like 20%, 19%. Well, gosh, I really got to cuss out the planter operator. Problem is, I heard the guy's a bit of a jerk. Sorry, 12 rows of focus here. If we could have harvested Dad's corn sooner than what we did, because ultimately when we got that new moisture tester, we started seeing that, yeah, it is drier, was drier than what the moisture our previous tester was telling us. So we could have been running a couple days earlier. We could have gotten those bins filled earlier. We could have ran that 60, 70 degree weather onto that corn and dried it down, finished drying it down sooner, and maybe would have gotten a chance at running me and Ryan's stuff out sooner. I sold all mine for November, so I couldn't begin harvest until the 1st November. Well, we were still doing Dad's corn the first week of November, so there's probably about a week there where we could be a week ahead. So coming up on Thanksgiving this week, and we can only haul a couple loads down because Ryan's got to do a couple long hauls. That's where he's at right now, just trying to get the stuff moved out to get done with harvest. And once we get done with harvest, they're calling for 40-degree weather this week, and that's going to be a stark change from the teens we've been getting during the day. And that's kind of what I'm figuring is going to happen here. I still don't have the 76 back, which they got the part. He was going to start working on it this past week. I'm going to call him Monday just to see how far along he is on it. Because I was kind of hoping I'd have it back Tuesday, Wednesday at the latest. Because I don't know what the dealership has as far as hours that they're working this week, especially with the holiday coming up. So, I mean, I would really be unfortunate if I lost the 76 for next week too, or for the rest of this week, because otherwise we're using the 40/20. Oh gosh, we'll be using the 40/20 to grind stocks and rake stocks. Like I said, it's not the planter operator's fault, it's just how I had to plant this place. Because this is, I have like a sod strip right here that had to plant how I planted it. So it's going to be a mad dash to the finish once you get done with harvest. If it's warm enough where I can go through, hit the combine with the air hose, hit it with the pressure washer and fold everything down on it and label it clean for the year, great. And then it's going to be cut stalks, bale stalks, bale fodder, get them hauled in, hook up to the chisel plows, hook up the shredder, the rotary mower, the 4155. It has new blades on it specifically for some of my farms I picked up, to go through and grind up the stocks that are on it. I was pretty confident in what my rotations were going to be for next year. In the last 4 to 5 days, it's gotten really shaken up as to my confidence level going forward on what I want to rotate some of this stuff as. I mean, ideally, I was going to be almost over 90% corn next year, and now I'm starting to wonder if that's going to be more like 2/3 corn, 1/3 beans, because everybody knows that I love soybeans. But the only thing I really like soybeans for is the rotational benefit with corn. But I'm still aiming that December 1st time frame, as long as weather allows, to go through and get it done with everything. Means I'm probably not going to be at home a heck of a whole lot, but I haven't been home a whole lot here lately anyway. So it'll be good just to say that the crops are done, field work is done. You could say, yeah, we got to haul some manure, but that can be hauled when the ground is froze and spread light, and then it's on to taking care of cows and feeding cows, running them the calves to the chute, weaning the calves, and really just get into a winter schedule. Start making plans for next year, what we could do better, which this year wasn't bad. I don't feel like this year was bad. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll let you know as soon as I get this farm off to know if harvest ended strong or weak for me, because I don't know until I get the last of it out. And yields have been everywhere. They really have been. Good, ugly, all right. And I am seeing the head shell here where the stuff is 15.4%, and I'm getting more of that shell than what I'd really like to see. Andrew's always after me to harvest at 22, 23%, and that's probably going to happen a little bit next year. I'm just going to have to mark it accordingly and make some management decisions for next year. I could be done with harvest earlier. I know I can. We can. It's just that I'm going for yield, and I'm trying to maximize the potential of all the acres that I have. And to do that, we have to run, don't have to run, but it increases your odds of better yields by running better, longer maturing hybrids. They can handle that, the longer dry spells in the summer between rain showers, and they can handle the heat a little bit better. Shorter day hybrids versus the longer ones is they're not willing to wait very long on lack of moisture before you really start seeing a yield hit, because they're going to tassel, they're going to do their reproductive cycle, and my opinion is the longer day hybrids will actually kind of hold on a little bit longer if things aren't 100% in its favor. I mean, this year is a good example. Last year is a good example. We aren't getting the rains every 2 days, which I'm grateful for, by the way. I mean, rain every 6 to 7 days, I'm fine with that. We've had that the last 2 years. We'll see what this winter does. I mean, I know the Mississippi River is going dry, but they said it's back up a few feet or a couple feet. And Grandpa always said that you don't sit and cuss the weather one way or the other, because it most certainly is going to change, and it won't just be a simple little switch in weather trends like you're hoping for. It's going to be a slam all the way over, tacked out the other way, where you're super dry or super wet. Well, the thing is, I don't want drought, but the last 2 years being able to actually do stuff other than try to get hay made when the sun is shining, it has been nice. It really has. So I got to get hay hauled this winter. Last couple years I've had a bunch hauled out by now, but there really hasn't been a whole lot moving. This year, winter, if you look around, has shown up a bit earlier, and that might have a better effect on hay demand. I mean, it starts getting cold out. I mean, I don't want to start saying the S word, but if we get a layer of snow and people have to start feeding their cows to sustain them in this cold weather, you know, they can't graze fields anymore, that'll help cattle prices too. But if you guys have heard me say, I'm gradually going to be making the move towards, not completely, feeding a little bit more of my hay out, and I'd rather grass feed my cattle than have to give them much of any grain. I mean, my cows generally, would rather not give my actual cows very much grain and just give it to the feeder calves when they're on their weaning stage. So I don't know. It really hasn't been a long, stressful harvest, because we really didn't get going until November. Just in corn. Soybeans, probably the first time in my lifetime I've enjoyed combining soybeans. These combines, these rotors and everything, they say that you're not going to see a big switch in productivity with these in regards to, like, you know, the older series machines. When in corn, your productivity, I think I'm saying that right, but they say where they made leaps and bounds worth of improvements was most certainly in being able to harvest soybeans, which, okay, I'll agree with that. I mean, I don't miss the 9510 cutting beans. It was all right in corn. I mean, the sample's cleaner with this thing. It's just that trying to get everybody out of here. See, this is the thing too, when you're operating this machinery, you get on the outside rounds, because, you know, the field lays like this, you know, this is the top and it lays out. Well, doing the outside rounds, it's a little steeper, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm not getting the carts loaded super heavy, and then Dad and Dale have to try to get them out of here. on some of this hilly ground, because I did have just a 5-foot stretch instance earlier where I was harvesting on the hillside and the corn is all going this way and the grain tank up top, and I was most certainly feeling that on the machine itself. It was trying to pull me sideways. 0 out of 10 would not recommend. I mean, this thing is so much more stable than the 9510 and Super Singles ever thought of being. But once again, I'd rather have the duals, and even though it's actually got a bigger grain tank on it, this thing's just a beast. It really is. This cart will be full. I think we'll get Dale. We'll probably get the last of it. I'm actually going to head on back around because Ryan is... he's 2 hours away yet. 82 looks a little weird on that little green cart, but I tell you what, there's literally no concern about being able to pull it out of here. And the thing is, I gotta be careful with that corn on it too. I don't want to try. I can't really heap the corn up because it's so dry. This stuff flows like water. I think Dale's back there. He's on his way. Because I don't want to go back that way because there's already a bit on the red cart. The green cart's done. The red cart's done. We're done for the day. And then run again tomorrow. Then hopefully Monday, maybe Tuesday we'll be done. It seems like this is taking forever, but we just really got started on this place today. And we are the third done. Oh, that works. Kind of forgot there's a waterway there. The only problem with that green grain cart is that it's narrower. It's got a narrow set wheelbase. The red cart is much better. This is going to seem kind of silly because I made him drive all the way up here. Just to do that. But Dale doesn't mind. I know he doesn't. I think a lot of that's because he's sitting in a heated cab, not freezing his butt off. We're gonna go up here though. Need radios again. Hey, we're gonna go back over here. And if you guys remember Dale, I don't think we really showed him too much, or he was on camera too much on here. He was on How Farms Work more with hauling the hay in this summer, and that's really what Dale has been helping us with, hauling stuff in. So hauling hay in, all 3 crops of hay from the valley, and then hauling corn in, which was kind of like a last minute, hey, are you busy? You want to drive tractor for a little bit? And I feel bad having somebody help do corn because it does tend to be a lot of sitting, because we only have 1 truck, and no, I really don't want to hire another truck, because that is kind of like the short-term solution of, okay, what are we going to do for, you know, to get harvest done quicker? Well, my solution at the moment is shorter day hybrids so we can start harvesting earlier in the fall, because we are pushing our start dates back farther and farther. But I can say by doing that, we've kind of reached that tipping point where 200 bushel to the acre is disappointing. You know, when my grandpa was alive, 150 bushel to the acre, which just made my stomach turn. When, you know, right up till the day he died, 150 bushel to the acre, that's a pretty good yield. that's a good yield. But you got to realize the years and the different technological advancements and equipment advancements my grandpa's lived through. I mean, the guy used to use horses to farm at one point in his life. So, I mean, I don't really know what Grandpa would say if he saw the yields we're getting now. And in another 20 years, the yields we're getting in another 20 years. So it's amazing. Another thing too to compensate for planting a shorter day hybrid is we lose 10 bushels to the acre. That's just an average number. Going to a shorter day, at least Dale's still back there. Planting with the upgraded planter that we'll have next spring. Ideally, we could see the yield benefits from a better corn stand make up for a better ear or a bigger ear. Granted, there's fewer of them. Now, does that make any sense? So I probably got at least one more harvest video in me before I'm just over it. And then I know I'm going to be running the 4155. I got over 200 acres we got to hit with that, which I'm really hoping we'll have the 76 back to do that, because the 4020 will do it. I've proven in a video a little while back the 4020 will run that. It's just that makes for a very long day. Actually, well, putting it on the auger like we do, and filling the bins like I was, where I was winding that auger up to 2,000 RPMs and letting her sing. I mean, that was a pretty good workout for the 4020. If we put it on that shredder and grind stocks with it for a day or two, at least at the very minimum, we got to get the last of our fodder made. We've been doing 200 bales the last couple years. It's not enough. It's not. We were kind of feathering them out there by about February because we weren't sure if we were going to make it till spring with 200 bales. And we got 80 right now. I'd like to make about 210 yet, or 220, about 300 bales, because if they last out into next summer, I'm going to have cows to feed year round. What I want to do differently though is I want to put in one of those inline skid steer bunk feeders where it's got cattle lanes on each side. Then you can actually open up a gate on one end, drive in, set in 5 or 6 or 7 bales, and the cows can eat on either side. But then there's a gate on the other end of the feed lane that if you get a bunch of bales that are just weeds or yuck or something, the cows don't want them. They don't want to eat them. Okay, well, we can go through and open the gates up and shove that out and pile it. We'll let the cows lay in it, you know. It's kind of what I got in mind for Upper Rockville again, where that bunk is, because splitting that lot up to where I can feed the outside lot, I can let them into one side of that bunk and then have another set of cattle on this side, granted feeder calves or bulls, and we're getting the fences and everything around. I mean, we get the building set up for dealing with the cattle, and then we'll, I think we'll be set pretty good. We can start focusing on more of our fences, because I don't know how many cows I could feed semi-confined, but I got 25 right now, and I'm giving them a bale every other day. So you're just not going to see me go to a TMR or even back to the silos. I think the silos are cooked. They're done. Just don't have any desire to go back to climbing them or fighting the plug blower pipes, or I just don't want to do it. And you got all the equipment around to deal with it. I'm a low-cost input cattle producer. They can eat grass. I can make a lot of grass fairly cheap. I mean, I don't have to fertilize as heavily as I do. and just put the first application down like I did this year, basically just because nitrogen prices didn't allow it. You know, it would have been insane to go through and try to put a bunch down. And what I'm looking to cash flow on the hay ground this year. So it's, I got plans for the cows. The cow loan will be paid off. At least that's the plan here. I'm going to be paying that off here in a very short order. So I won't have any more cow payment. But I do have one, I mean, outside of, I'm planning on building a computer this winter. I've already got a bunch of parts figured out and picked out, and I got a general idea in my head of what it's going to be with the machine, you know. But out of everything else that I've gone through and bought this year, one thing that I think would make life a lot easier would be a 36-foot JBM hay wagon. Something I can put 12, 14, 16 bales on and either transport them between the farms or slap that behind the 46 and get bales hauled up out of the valley that much quicker. I mean, that would be behind the 46 ideally because it'll have the weight on it. And then put the 76, that the stock trailer hitch, or the gooseneck hitch, 3-point hitch on the 76. Then haul in 10 or 11 with that, and then be able to haul hay in short order. Because it's not just the valley, we got hay at a couple of these other farms that we need to be able to get hauled home and wrapped, because Ryan is wrapping hay is really growing on my brother, and wrapping like that oatlage stuff, that really won me over, because I was feeding that to the cows before I let them out into the field. They're cleaning up the stalks and everything, but when the cows were going through that, they get dang near mean trying to get to that wrapped oatlage bale. It smells sweet. I wish you guys could smell through the camera. So here I am harvesting corn. I'm talking about cows. So the ground is hard, but we get back in the 40s. I don't think the ground is frozen hard enough where it won't soften up here. Maybe by next weekend. Quite seriously, by next weekend. Even on last year on Thanksgiving Day, we were cutting beans, or chisel plowing, I mean. And that's kind of where I'm at this year. Is not so much worried about holiday is getting the field work. There's always Christmas. That's it for this video, or this day of harvest. They say if they were open, because they closed at 3 today, the elevator, as opposed to 5. I gotta move. That's to move. And Dale said he has to wrangle the grandkids for the next couple days. So he's gonna help. He's gonna be here, it sounds like, as long as we're able to get harvest out in the time frame I'm planning on. But he's like, I can't help the days around Thanksgiving because all the grandkids are gonna be here. And he said, I was told him I gotta help watch them. I think we all get it. The kids tend to pick out the weak one of the adults and pick on them. At my house, it's Brittany. Because Brittany says that time and time again, where the reeling is good when it's just Brittany for the most part. Gosh dang it, we need a little bit more yet. I have just a cure for that. He gets up on the level, I can top that off. Oh man. But it's good we're under 100 acres. It's a good feeling that we're under 100 acres left. And I wish we weren't trying to harvest yet the week of Thanksgiving, but it's fine. It's not so much that it's the lateness that bothers me, it's the unenjoyable weather. Because you heard me say that, maybe I just said it in my head. The reason why we aren't farther than what I'd like to be is because we had to sit on our hands and wait for the snow to melt off the plants, because we made that critical error a while back of harvesting with snow on the plants, and it iced the whole machine up. And we don't have a shop, we don't have anywhere we can take this thing and park it and let it thaw out overnight. And it's not just thawing it out, because when you run a bunch of snow and crud into these things, you don't just get snow and ice, you get all the dirt and debris that is mixed in with it, and you get like this, I'm not sure what's the best thing to compare it to. Concrete? Hey, concrete might be a good example. And it's just a pain in the butt trying to deal with that. And this combine's got several years of service ahead of it on this farm, and I have every intention of taking it and actually having the dealer inspection done on it. They, at least the local mechanic, I trust him to at least make sure any wear parts are replaced or anything that we wouldn't know to look for. So that's it for this video, guys. My throat's starting to dry out. But stay tuned. You're gonna see some more probably random uploads from me. And before we get into the winter doldrums. So thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. If you watched this far, make sure, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like and comment also, because it does help this channel hobble along. So until next time, I'll talk to you later.